Good afternoon everyone, and thanks for tuning in to another Mark Outlet Seeds video crop update. Today is July 31st, so that marks the middle of summer, and we're going to start this week's video with a quick look at the weather that we've had so far. Despite the immense amount of variability in crops throughout the area, the region as a whole is sitting right around 110% of our long-term average for heat accumulation for this calendar date. So that's been great news for some of our heat-loving crops, including soybeans as well as corn. The other thing we want to talk about, of course, is precipitation. So there were some areas with some heavy thunderstorms early in the growing season, some isolated overland flooding that caused some issues, but in general, we're sitting between 80 and 90% of our long-term average for precipitation accumulation to the end of July. As a result, there's a lot of soils that are actually a little bit drier than we'd like to see them. So there's some heavier soils that are cracking a little bit more. And on a hot afternoon like this, with the sun blazing down, we are seeing some effects of dry conditions on some of these crops, as they're not able to take up quite as much moisture as they're losing to the atmosphere in the heat of the day. So on soybeans, we'll see some of those leaves rolling over. On corn, the leaves are really rolling up. And some of the other crops, including canola as well as cereals, it seems to be progressing towards maturity a little bit faster than we'd really like to be seeing. But in general, if we can catch some rains moving forward here into August, there's some great yield potential out there. Right now I'm standing in some P00 Z19E soybeans. So this is a brand new variety for next year that's full season. These are at the R2 to R3 stage right now, and there's some great yield potential if we can catch those August rains. In terms of insects, we are seeing a little bit of soybean aphid out there in the area. In general, we haven't seen some concerning amounts yet that would justify spraying, but that's something that we want to keep an eye on, especially as we have that heat and some of those drier days. That's really a problem that can accelerate very quickly, so we want to keep on top of it. So I've moved over to a silage corn PKP in the Ridgewood area, and on my left here is a relatively new hybrid P8294V. So that V stands for Vorseed, and that gives you both above and below ground insect protection right out of the bag without having to worry about scouting or spraying. So that'll cover you for both European corn borer as well as northern corn rootworm, which is a growing problem, especially on a field like this that has a lot of corn in the rotation. Now that we're in the afternoon sunshine, there's also a little bit of leaf rolling starting in this field. So you can see here, these leaves have basically folded in half, they're starting to roll up, and that's a defense mechanism that indicates that these plants are not pulling up quite as much moisture as they need. So this reduces the leaf area and thus reduces how much evapotranspiration losses that we have. Starting about 2 weeks ago to about 2 weeks after pollination, these plants will be pulling up about 1/3 of an inch of moisture per day if it's available. And again, if we're in a deficit, we're going to start seeing this defense mechanism. If we only see it in the heat of the day, we shouldn't be too worried about it. But if these leaves start to roll up basically as soon as the sun comes out in the morning and then stays rolled up until after sunset, that would be a severe drought situation for those plants. So obviously that's going to reduce how much photosynthesis is happening, and as a result, it's going to decrease how much available sugars are going to be going into those ears, and as a result, we won't have quite as high of a yield. But again, right now we're not too concerned. If those situations persist for more than a couple of days, we could be looking between 4 to 5% yield loss per day where they really stay locked up and rolled up like that. So obviously we're going to need some rain on a lot of crops to help fill them out in the second half of the summer. We hope that everyone has a wonderful long weekend coming up here. One thing that we do have going on next week is a Gold Eyes game that we're taking some customers to on Wednesday evening. So if we haven't reached out to you and you're interested in going, please give our staff a call as soon as possible, and we should still have some tickets for you. Once again, we hope that everyone enjoys the long weekend here, and if you do have questions about your crop or need us to come out and scout, please don't hesitate to give us a call.